Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike. We all know that NAFTA and other free trade deals are bleeding jobs from our state. They're also interfering with our legislators' ability to govern, with our democracy itself. We give foreign corporations extraordinary rights at the cost of our democracy, and we have Representative Benjamin Pratt here from Eddington. He represents District 20, and he knows firsthand the risk of these free trade deals on our laws and our policies here in Maine. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? Fellow workers, brothers and sisters, I am Benjamin Pratt. I'm the Secretary of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3106 in Orono, Maine, and I proudly represent House District 20 in the Maine State Legislature. I'm honored to be here with such a great group of folks, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. We've been hearing a lot about sovereignty lately. Don't tread on me, come and take it. We've been hearing a lot of these slogans coming back in a resurgence as of late, and it spurred some good debate. But let me say this. Any threat to local and state sovereignty by the federal government's exercise of expanded powers under the necessary and proper clause of the Constitution pales, absolutely pales in comparison to the threat that free trade has on sovereignty at all levels of U.S. government and the will of the people. The feds have the power to regulate interstate commerce and enter into treaties. That's there in the Constitution. Why they would give up their sovereignty to unelected, unaccountable foreign tribunals beholden only to trade agreement terms and not the laws of this country is boggling to me. This is not a partisan issue. For years, the federal administrations from both parties have bowed to corporate pressure and big money, selling out working families and rewarding companies that bail on us, bail on workers, and bail on this country. Now the current administration wants to renege on promises made to reform these flawed trade deals, and that, quite frankly, is unacceptable.
Yeah.
As a state legislator, I have seen how hard it is to do the right thing for Maine workers and Maine families due to the Interstate Commerce Clause and federal preemption in these issues. If that were not bad enough, I'm deeply concerned that these free trade deals undermine states' rights by allowing foreign corporations to sue and challenge laws we make here because they don't want to comply, because they believe they may, sometime in the future, hinder profits. These cases are then heard by foreign tribunal hacks where the terms of the trade agreement trump, absolutely trump, any local democratic decision-making done here. We've worked hard and we have a hell of a long way to go on workers' rights issues and environmental issues in this state. I don't want to see that work uprooted in the name of free trade. And I certainly do not want to see hard-earned tax money having to be used to defend our laws to foreign corporations. The sovereignty of every local municipality is at stake here. Just for example, local rights-based ordinances already passed by some Maine communities in an attempt to prevent a corporate commercial grab of their groundwater resources are vulnerable to lawsuits from one of the largest global food conglomerates in the world. Do we truly want to see our local select boards and city councils having to go up against these undemocratic tribunals in order to defend their environment, their livelihoods, and their way of life? I think not. I've said it before, and you'll hear me say it again. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It's not a government of the corporations, by the corporations, or for the corporations. It's time to question corporate personhood. It's time to stand up for working Americans and for jobs with justice and dignity. It's time to dump a failed trade policy that is nothing more than a race to the bottom and a descent to the lowest common denominator. These free trade policies, in effect, are backdoor union busting, an affront to federal, state, and local sovereignty. They pit workers around the world against each other instead of fostering solidarity and unity. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a PhD in economics to see how these trade policies have adversely affected our home here in Maine, and particularly the 2nd Congressional District. But there is some good news. Our own congressman, the Honorable Mike Mishu, has submitted the Trade Act, which to ensure that the most egregious and capricious aspects of these trade agreements, including the undemocratic investor rights provisions, would be excluded from all future deals. It's imperative that we encourage our Senators Snowe and Collins and President Obama to support the Trade Act and pull back from the South Korean Free Trade Agreement currently being pushed by U.S. Trade Representative Kirk. Mr. Kirk, take your free trade rhetoric elsewhere. We're not buying it.
Woo!
Yeah. There's just too much at stake, folks. Workplace safety, child labor laws, environmental laws, and the weekend were not gifts of a benevolent corporation. They were fought for, bled for, and died for by American workers and codified by American lawmakers.
Yeah.
Let us not roll back all we have accomplished in the name of corporate profit and instead move forward for a just, democratic, and sustainable future. Thank you for your time. All power to the people and solidarity forever.
Woo!